Welcome. We are here this evening playing Cordially Invited, a Trophy Dark incursion. All right. I'm Madelancholy, she, they pronouns. I have played a lot of Trophy Dark and some Trophy Gold. And considering the spooky season, I'm running a few Trophy Dark incursions this month. And I'm glad to to present this particular incursion that I've never played before. So Cordially Invited is written by Michael Van Vliet. And yeah, we'll see how this turns out. I'm interested to hear, since I don't know all the players, I'm interested to hear name, pronouns, your experience, if any, with Trophy, and what you're excited to, excited about this particular game. Alrighty. So I'm gonna start with Shane.
Yeah, my name's Shane. I use they, them pronouns. I've played a bit of Trophy, not for quite a while, so not really across the details. But basically, what I understand is that we're going to do a heist. So I'm just looking forward to a really successful outing, being able to retire with my winnings and wealth. That's really what I'm here for today.
We'll see. Okay, go ahead and popcorn it over to one of the other players, please.
Jim.
Hey, I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns, and I have played a little bit of trophy system stuff. I've played a little bit of Sunken, and just recently started another short trophy game that folks might possibly be familiar with if they're watching your channel. But that's me. I'm excited to just I like the idea of seeing knowing what the heist character sort of interactions can be like. I'm just very interested to see what's going to happen when you introduce that into this kind of game. So very eager to see how that's going to go.
Me too. Go ahead and popcorn it over to someone else.
Right. Let's go over to Merilee.
Hi, I'm Merilee. I use she, they pronouns. I played Trophy Dark twice, both times with the creator of this incursion as the GM, so it was super duper cool. And I'm actually running Butter Princess soon. I'm very excited about it. I know I love Butter Princess so much. And I think I'm most excited about, honestly, this setting. I don't know if the flavor text for this incursion was the same as the popcorn game, but the idea of basically just the bourgeois doing what the bourgeois do and us having to interact with that is really interesting to me, because I love kind of that strange flavor that you get in settings like that. So that's what I'm most excited for.
Fantastic. And last but not least, Marty.
Hi, I'm Marty. I'm from Argentina and south of the border. And I've been playing CFB games, but like the Between and Public Access and some playtests in the Gauntlet. But I had never played Trophy Dark. And I read what was about the two sessions that you are running, and it sort of attracted to me the idea of this Venetian masks game.
All right. Well, welcome you all, and let's see how this goes. All right. So I'm going to be doing a round of cats here where I review concept, aim, tone, and subject matter to make sure that we all have our expectations out on the table and we understand what we're getting into when we get into this game. And it'll also involve a review of the safety tools that we will have available at this table as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and pop in here. Okay, so for concept, Trophy Dark itself is a role-playing game about a group of doomed seekers entering the haunted spaces of the world. Cordially Invited tells the story of a crew gathered to go undercover and attend an exclusive masked ball on a rich weirdo's private island in search of their employer's missing daughter. And starting off as a heist, this leads to deeper, darker, much darker secrets. For aim, our characters might hope to find the missing woman and get their immense payout, but the GM and the players know better. They are all doomed and most likely not to survive. If they do, they may not be recognizable as the same person at the end. Take risks, play into the drama, and play to lose. Tone. The tone of Trophy Dark is desperate and often tragic. You will likely encounter conflict or tension where the characters are encouraged to backstab or betray their companions in pursuit of their goal. Subject matter. The game will be R-rated. Your crew are risk takers willing to make dangerous choices. The game will likely be violent, terrifying, and include scenes of bodily horror and loss of self-control. The gameplay itself is highly collaborative and improvisational. Players have a lot of say over the world itself and can introduce story elements that no one, not even the GM, was expecting, and play moves between the fiction and the metagame frequently. The game runs best when everyone feels comfortable offering up their ideas, and we'll be doing a lot of that during the game. This uses 6-sided dice of 2 colors, light and dark, to determine the outcome of risky actions. We have a dice roller room online to give us the effects of how we're going to do the dice mechanics. Okay, and we have excuse me, we have safety tools that are available to the players to make sure everyone has a comfortable, even though in horror, comfortable gameplay experience. Okay, so we have X card, which if anything is objectionable in an unfun way, you want to go ahead and make an X with your arms in the video, you want to say X in the chat, or you want to just say X out loud. We'll stop play, find out what needs to be X carded, and then move on. Okay, that piece will be taken out and we won't ask why. Okay, why it's X carded. We also have open door policy. So if for any reason you've got to leave the table like for a moment, like, just kind of take a step back from the scene, or if you need to leave the game because it's not for you, and that's perfectly fine, then you would just call open door, and then again, we won't ask you why. We'll just check in to make sure that, is it just for the scene or like you're just completely out, just to make sure. And then finally, we have lines and veils. We use a character keeper to keep track of the character's information, and there is a safety tab on this character keeper, which has the lines, which are things that won't be crossed, as it will not be part of the game whatsoever. And then veils are things that may come up, be mentioned, be present, but won't be described in any detail. We won't role play them out, and we'll just kind of fade to black on it, okay? So from what I can see here, our players have filled out the safety tab. So lines currently in this particular game are homophobia, transphobia, intimate partner violence, racism, sex work, sexism, sexual assault, sexual violence. And for veils, we have eye injuries, sexual content, slurs, starvation, suicide, body shaming, and human waste. There is an ask first column. So again, we'll just check in if we get close to these things. We're going to have an ask first on bullying, dental horror, kink BDSM, mind control. And then there is an interest. So we'll see. There's an interest column on religion cults. So we'll have to see what's going on this island. All right. So right now, with that, those things said, we're going to pause the recording at this point to do some character generation. And when we come back, we're going to introduce these characters one by one, and see who's going to be part of this crew that's going to investigate this big party. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording right now, and then we'll get to working. All right, so we have characters created. We're going to start these character introductions by just going over the name, pronouns, occupation, background, and drive if they want to mention it, and the rituals of this character in general, for one by one. Okay, so I'm going to start with the I'm going to start from the other side of the character keeper, so right to left. So Merilee, can you please introduce Nora for us? Sorry.
Hi, I'm playing Nora Summers. She, her pronouns. My occupation is the face. My background is tongue-tied linguist, and my drive is to find a rich patron. My rituals are affable and clipboard.
We'll find out what those mean when you use them. Excellent. Okay. Shane, please tell us what Vega's like.
Yeah, so I'm playing Vega, he, him. My occupation is the tech. My background is washed out soldier. Vega certainly would not use the words washed out. That's very pejorative. He just found that the military didn't really suit him. And his drive is to cover losses from a recent embezzling scheme. He's fully kitted out with rituals. He has drone, open sesame, and affable.
Nice. All right. And Jim, please tell us about Damian.
Yeah, so I'm playing Damian Sloan with he, they pronouns. They are the hunter for their occupation. For their background, they're a mercenary instructor. They do have a drive to get some secrets about their rich guests for future blackmail opportunities. And his rituals include Haya, which is to render someone unconscious by touching them, and magnifying glass, which involves discovering something overlooked.
All right. And Marty, please tell us about Jonas. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No, my name is Jonas. Because I'm a wizard song, an old wizard song, and I'm the Crook, and he's like I don't know. His background is spell cult member. His kids are distraction, escape, smuggling, and belonging, and he's sort of this character in Catch Me If You Can. Steven Spielberg's Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, which he's an absolute complete liar, and he wants to buy a spot at the country club, so to have a sort of belonging. And my rituals are open sesame and clipboard. I hope that I have done that. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So I think you all might have worked together or separately for let's call him Frank. And Frank's little girl never came home. Fell in with the wrong crowd. Daddy's got money, per diems plus expenses to bring her back. No questions asked. So it's time to gather your crew and go undercover. The only clue that he can tell you about is an invite to a very exclusive masked ball on some rich weirdo's private island. Yeah. She was supposed to be home. I told her I was going to cover her bets, but she went off thinking that she was going to make something big of herself. Now she seems to be going to this party. No calls. Her other phone's not working. And no one's seen her since, at least the friends that I know about. So this guy, and he hands you the invitation. This guy, a hedonist playground, they call it. Scuttlebutt says that there's going to be things going down that night under cover of masks. Who knows? Like sex, drugs, rock and roll. Who knows? But I need you to find her. If you can't bring her back, at least tell her. I want her back. I want to make sure she's okay. Party's tonight. And looks like Ferry leaves in just a couple of hours. Can you be ready? I'll get you there. You just have to get to that island and find her. So, to further the character introductions, I'd like each of you to narrate a scene in which you are getting ready for this trip. I will have a question for all of you as a group. Do you want to know each other? That you are being gathered for this particular job, or do you want to meet, having known each other through previous jobs, but you didn't know that the others were coming on this trip?
I think the latter makes for like a more, I don't want to say inherently competitive setup, but a little bit more of general animosity in the group, which I'm always looking to add to trophy. There's not enough of it built in.
Yeah, exactly.
So personally, I'm leaning towards we were all called separately. He just happened to, maybe he hired somebody to find us, and that guy was like, well, technically these are my best people. So
right. He has all hired you for some job or another at some point. You may have worked with each other at some point, but this may be the time where you gather waiting for the ferry, and you discover that you're all there. I just want to hear about like the getting ready part. What do you do that day to put together your kit, figure out what you're going to do, what you're going to be?
I can start us off.
Okay.
So Nora has a black duffel bag that she brings with her. It has 2 pairs of heels, one short, one tall, and 2 different dresses. One she can run in, one she can run in better, and a large coat. She is currently wearing like slacks and like a vest, and that is kind of part of her normal job get up. And to prep, she called a guy that she knows and kind of inquired about the island in general, but still is getting a lot of pushback from this guy who's normally very good at giving information, usually among thieves and roustabouts. I don't know what the word would be.
Right.
Folks of that deal in that type of information will give it up for any price, but he's not giving it up even for a really good price. And so that's kind of got her, I wouldn't say concerned. It's more of a feeling of intrigue and interest. I wouldn't say she runs in these circles often, but this is not necessarily her first rodeo. She'll probably tell you about the time in Dubai, or the time in Venice, or, the time in many other places where she may have ended up on some weird rich guy's island, or at a weird sex cult party. So she's not that worried about it. But other than that kind of general prep, she doesn't bring a lot with her. She's not a woman of things, but a woman of words. So.
Shall I go next?
Sure.
So Vega, has packed a bag. He is a person of things, like he's got his stuff together. We see him like sitting back in a chair, looking quite relaxed. He's got a thick mustache. He's got a fine silk shirt that's like open almost to the navel. And he's kind of saying to a couple of guys, look, it's no problem. As soon as I get back from the island, you'll get your money. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, no, there's no need for that. Like, what are you doing? And then we cut to black as the sound of fingers snapping rings out.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, Vega.
Can I go?
Yeah, go for it.
So I guess you see Jonas in his he's in a little apartment, like 2-bedroom and kitchen, and he has these boxes where he has like several credit cards from different names with different names, several IDs with different same picture, different name. And he has also traveler checks and some fake money also, but very very good. And he wears like this suit of Reservoir Dogs, so he puts his black glasses and he's in the and with that suitcase, with all these fake things, goes to the mission.
Nice.
So I think when we look in on Damian, first off, Damian looks very nondescript. It's he's got just basically he's it's like a 5'11" white guy. He's apparently with a bit of a tan. Maybe he's not really. He's not very interesting looking, which is something that he kind of banks on. He'll sometimes, a lot of times when he's walking around, he'll sometimes have like sunglasses or in a baseball cap, that kind of thing. So it's like if you see him sort of, so it's like in seeing him prep, you might see him sort of turning and walking down into a a basement apartment of some kind somewhere, where he sort of has his lair. You see him sort of coming in, and then he'll wear these sometimes. I'm not going to wear these the whole time because I would like to be able to see, but we have these. And he basically, you can see him, he's got like these, it's like sort of, so he's got the basic room, the basic very Spartan rooms, and then he's got the hidden room, where he will, which requires a sliding of wall panel type deal, where he will go in, and that's where his office is, which is it's got the it's got the sort of the a few computer monitors and feeds coming in from his various clients, where it's, and he has a tendency to wear black a lot of the time. So some people, he tends to be very quiet. Some people like him for his professionalism. Some people do not like him so much because generally when he shows up, he usually is. Most of what he does, he tends to, it's like, quick assassination and then go. But then he also will, when he tracks people down, but he also will sometimes, he'll do other, he'll help out other operations from time to time, and like sort of figuring out, okay, he's the guy who like builds the model ahead of time, just sort of quietly, and we'll sort of set it down. It's like, okay, entrances are here, here, and here. There's, and there you got this, people around the side. And it's like, it's weird. It's a weird experience talking to him because it's like sort of, it's like talking to someone's weather-beaten dad, basically. So seems perfectly nice. It's like there's no reason why there should be anything terribly suspicious going on, but then he'll very calmly smile and turn and shoot someone in the back. So it's that kind of deal. So we see him getting just sort of getting sort of a list coming down on where he's where he's got like various listening devices on different phones that are coming in that are like, oh, okay, good, I'll need to plug that in for that client, so they'll be able to know that that's a possibility, because he's gotten recently from some of the members of the organization. They are interested always in new people to blackmail. So he sees that there's a bit of a deficit that they're trying to deal with right now. So he's like, okay, there's an opportunity. Maybe I'll finally be able to take a break from this for a little while. And you never get fully out when you're with the organization, but he would like a vacation. That's basically what he's interested in primarily. So he's going to see if he can get So see if he can get, if need, he hopefully not a working vacation, but you do what you have to. So he, you see him basically once he gets the information in, and he's playing back the video from the client where he from Frank, where he's like, oh, okay, Frank's in trouble again. Okay, that's his daughter. Okay, and he basically will take down the important information. He has a duffel bag. He has the duffel bag, and he's like contemplates for a second which sniper rifle to bring, and. He's like, we want to be inconspicuous, so we'd best get the smaller guns for this one. We're actually going to be going in amongst people, so not supposed to take anyone out this time. And so it's like he's it's the other guns. Just a few. He tries to limit himself to just like a knife or two, and maybe just a couple of guns. If he can, he's trying to. It's not supposed to be a lethal job. He's trying to not be as lethal this time. Briefly considers then taking bringing the other, again looks longingly at the sniper rifle in its case for a second. He's like, maybe I can just bring it and leave it in the boat. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. That might be irresponsible. We won't have control of the boat. I'll have to see. We'll see. Maybe stow it somewhere if I really want to bring it. And so you see just sort of his hand sort of it's like he leaves. He almost gets out of he's got his duffel bag over his shoulder. He's getting ready to leave, and then he stops for a second. You see him look back at the rifle where it's still just sort of sitting there invitingly, and then I don't think we see what he does. It just cuts ahead.
Nice. Alrighty. So given that we've hit the hour mark, let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break, and then we will begin ring 1 when we come back. All right. So 10 past. See you in 10 minutes. All right. So the characters have all gotten together, or I should say, have gotten ready. And I want to say that the camera pans to almost like a 4-shot, like 4 panels of all of them turning away from their respective homes, apartments, pads, what have you, and going out the door. And we find them all converging on this specific dock for this specific ferry. And I think you all come upon each other in your respective outfits, guises, what have you. And there's a moment of recognition. Please tell me, in this moment of recognition, whom you recognize first. So you would name another player and tell me what your memory brings up first, what kind of memory it is, and the last time you saw this person.
So I'm immediately recognize Vega. And the last memory that I have of him is I'm trying to spin up a way that I was involved in this embezzling scheme that you know money for. But I would say probably like more than likely I was either running a con alongside whoever was running this embezzling scheme. I assume Vega. But we were more just like in the same place at the same time. And I remember that there was a kind of stubborn respect while it was going on, but then an immediate understanding of like, perhaps the caliber of con being run by Vega is not quite up to standard if now people are in pursuit requesting money for this failed embezzling scheme. So like knowing that like, oh, it was a good con until it wasn't. So that would be kind of the memory that Nora has of Vega. Although I would say that she probably also recognizes Damian, but Vega is the one that very fresh in her mind. So
Yeah.
I think Jonas recognizes Jim. He was in a job to steal a very rich person, but his job, Jonas' job, was until certain point, and so he saw Jim enter a room, and they told him that's up to where you go. But Jonah was a little bit curious, and he saw Jim doing the poor guy 3 shots, like that. I said, okay, I'm gonna be really respectful with this guy. He said, if I meet him in the near future. That's what he said.
All right. So, sorry. Yeah, let's have, sorry, this is probably something I should have done before we came back from break, but yeah, go ahead and have your character name first, and then your regular handle. So this way it's like, we can all see our character names first on the Zoom, if you don't mind. Okay. All right. Who does Vega see first on this doc?
Sorry, Mads. I don't use Zoom that much outside of work. How do I change my name on the display?
Oh yeah, you go to the upper right-hand corner of Zoom, you see the 3 dots, and it should give you an option to rename. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
So Vega, I think Vega notices Jonas first. Marty, if this is okay with you, I think that I feel pretty awkward about this because I've been trying to like put the blame for the embezzlement scheme on you. You're like something that you had nothing to do with, but I've got like, I know that you're kind of shady. I thought that maybe I could like put the blame on you. I did not expect to run into you so soon. I thought maybe you'd have your legs broken by now or something. So that's, yeah, but that's okay. So I greet you very warmly. Jonas, it's so good to see you. How you been?
Oh my
Jonas
God.
has heard something about Vega, but he's not so sure. So yeah, right, okay. He has a suspicion that the Vega has said something about him, but he's not sure, so he's ambiguous.
Excellent.
Okay, great.
Damian, who do you notice first?
So I think Damian recognizes Nora more than Damian recognizes everyone from different things, either having met or having read files about them. But Nora, I think basically there's this moment when Damian finally, having just sort of, by habit, he always kind of will, when he's entering a scene, he will have already kind of sort of been looking for exits, etc. The usual thing. I know it's a pier in this case, so it's there are only so many ways you can go. But we'll always be sort of be sort of look carefully and then approach seemingly casually. And I think that as he's walking up, and he just sort of for a moment we'll see Nora. There's this brief moment. There's this slight wince, and I think we have a quick flashback scene where Nora has been wining and dining the warden of a prison overseas, basically to get a hold of some contraband that he is. That he had, just something he's sitting on. It could be a supply. It could be gold. Probably we'll say that there's a box of gold bars or something that basically she's trying to get out, and she's been working on him for some time during the evening. It's like the one time he's sort of is sort of kind of let his guard down, and there's this point where it's like she's where she was able to kind of, because it's like something that he brought, where it's like a nearby place where there's a casino or something, where he brought and so basically she's sort of been working on him in the casino, and then it's like this. There's this moment when she's almost got him out the door, and then an alarm sounds, and basically, and it's. I'm going to say we don't know exactly what caused the alarm because Damian has been on the scene up until this point, and he just sort of steps out for kind of at this point. He sort of steps out from the side, just looks around, shrugs, shoots the warden in the head, and sort of like picks up the case. He's like, "Are we going?" and starts heading out.
Let that man touch my waist. We could have done that 20 minutes ago.
Oh my God. Oh, jeez.
I thought you...
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, you're all gathered here at the dock, waiting for this ferry. And there are other people here, maybe wrapped up in rich furs, not really paying attention to anybody else, unless they know them, in which case they're gathering like flocks of richly appointed birds. And you notice that as you're waiting for the ferry, it looks like clouds are on the horizon, building up from light gray to like a dark, deep steel. And perhaps there's even a rumble across the water. A dark and stormy night may be on its way. You take the ferry, and folks are kind of mingling amongst themselves and maybe talking to each of you for fun and saying, "Oh, what do you do for a living?" That's a joke. And you find yourselves the ferry pulling in after quite some time. Everyone is drinking champagne as night falls and disembarking upon the island itself, up a cobblestone path, flanked by employees in suits and bird masks with real feathers, quite expensive looking. And you notice that all of the luggage is being whisked away, and there are guards, brutes in suits, and the masks, of course, that are holding out these wooden boxes. Wallets, rings, wristwatches, please. These wooden boxes have locks on them.
Mads, I have a question.
Yeah.
Could I do a thing while we're on the ferry?
Oh, on the ferry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I know we got to the island.
Ah.
This was just a thing that I think she would have thought of probably slightly later than she should have. I would like to see if I could like call one of my information guys and see if I could figure out anything about Frank's daughter.
Okay. Were you planning on using a ritual?
I would be happy to. I would love to use affable.
Okay. All right. So let's retro that just a little bit. Rewind a bit back to the boat. And you are going to be using a ritual. So you can either, everyone can follow along either in the hovering over the risk roll, like over on the left of the treasure hunters tab, or looking at that infographic sheet that I had sent out earlier. And so the way the risk roll is built, automatically, if you use a ritual, then it's risky. It's going to be risky. Body, mind, whatever. So you will be rolling with one dark die. Oh, actually, let me ask everybody first before we start building the dice roll. So for a risk roll, everybody gets to put in like, what do we think can go wrong if the roll goes badly? Make a suggestion.
Oh, I think she will receive information of another kidnapping.
Okay.
To me, the obvious thing that can go wrong is that like the wrong person finds out you're asking these questions.
So the the sort of terrible thing that I have thought of, which we'll see, is that Frank's daughter might know one of us and can recognize one of us on sight, which might be a bad thing in this situation.
Okay.
It's like if we don't want our cover blown.
Exactly. Yeah, I think what can go wrong? Yeah, I think to kind of maneuver off of the wrong person thing, I think you will be you'll get the attention of one of the brutes in suits, and they'll kind of mark you for the rest of the night. That's what could go wrong. Or you're kind of like hauled away while you're on the boat. But that's what can go wrong. Let's see about building this dice roll. So again, for a risk roll, you get 1 light die for skill, whether through your occupation or background that you're using towards this particular ritual. So looks go ahead.
I'll be using charm.
Okay. So that's 1 light die. The dark die comes from the using of the ritual period because it's risky. Okay. And then the second light die is the fun
If
part.
the GM will allow, I am open to the devil's bargains.
Yes, so absolutely. So second light die is built by offering up from everyone, a devil's bargain. A devil's bargain is preceded by no matter what. So regardless of how she rolls, no matter what, something will happen. And she does not have to take the devil's bargain, but we always find it interesting when they do.
Can I ask a question before, because I have a potential devil's bargain in mind. How
Okay.
old is the daughter?
Because she's falling in with the wrong crowd, I'm gonna say she's at least in her 20s. Let's say her
All right.
20s.
Then my devil's bargain is that you realize you've slept with her.
Ooh,
That's so good.
that is so damn good. Oh my
So good.
God. Hold on, let me just like write this down. Slept with Frank's daughter. Ooh. Okay. That's that.
Complications.
I don't know.
Love
Oh
it.
God. I don't know if I can come up with one. Okay, anybody else? No matter what. That's what a devil's bargain is. Let's see.
That's so good. It's just the only
We
thing
can
I can think of
also-
is to make that one worse.
Well, we can let it emerge and play how bad it is.
True.
I'll say that I'll go ahead and take that one unless somebody has a really juicy devil's bargain on top of that.
I lost the plot after that.
Yeah,
came
that
out. I
was so
like,
good.
I've
That's
got
also so
nothing.
on brand for Nora. I love it.
Oh yes.
So
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, you're gonna go ahead and take that devil's bargain. So let's go over to the dice roller, and you will be rolling the risk roll. 2 light, 1 dark, please.
got it. So just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
6.
So
6 light.
Yep.
So that means that you succeed. Tell me what this looks like.
So I'm calling my information, my knowledge guy, Rat. I start with how many hot pockets have you had today? Which should give you some information about him. I don't know if you've ever seen Armageddon, I think it is, where they send a bunch of engineers to the moon or whatever. There's a guy that like microwaves a computer in that. Anyway, that's Rat. He's like a guy that sits in front of a bunch of computers. And I'm asking him, hey, I've got this kid that I'm searching for. Not really a kid, a young woman that I'm searching for. Her name is insert name here, of X family, and I need to know what her vices are. Specifically, I need to know where she's like, what part of the wrong crowd has she fallen into?
We'll call
and any
her
information.
yeah, we'll call her Sarah.
Sarah? Okay.
Yeah.
Sarah CBS of the CBS fortune.
Actually, you know what? Like, let's make it really fancy and like call her Sarah Caff, short for Sarah Catherine.
Okay. So I basically am just looking for essentially what part of this party do I need to be in to find her? What kind of questions do I need to ask? So without broaching her as a subject. Does you picking up what I'm putting down, Mads? Specifically, I want to know her vice. Like
Her vice, yeah.
what has she been buying? Where has her money been going?
Sure.
Transactions on the dark web, transactions on the regular web.
Yeah. So well, I mean, already this rich weirdo's place that you're at. I mean, like, let's call him sorry, coming up with names.
You're good.
Kensington Wolf the Fifth. Okay. So that's his name. And he's known for some salacious parties, basically. So her, it wasn't by mistake that her father had said, like, sex, drugs, and rock and roll to start with. He might have thought he was facetious. I don't think that's the case. At least that's what Rat tells you. But, how do you mention her? Like, how do you get the skinny on asking about her? Like, what kind of name do you use? Do you actually say her name?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I trust Rat. He is an information dealer, so this could come up down later the line, like come up later down the line as a thing he could sell, and that's like an understanding I have with him. But my name won't be mentioned with it. It's just like somebody was asking about her, so I'm okay with saying her name in full, and mentioning that it's a retrieval. So,
Right. Yeah, and then like he tells you, I think in this information gather that he's you can picture him too, because like he makes the hot pockets. He's always like kind of like in this weird shaggy coat, no shirt,
love
and
that guy.
he's yeah, absolutely, and he's telling you about this having rolled with Kensington Wolf the Fifth, and that he has like the best parties if you're interested in da 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 da. But he will say that everybody goes under a code name, and he happens to know that her code name is Raven, and that sparks a memory for you, Nora.
Hey, Rat. Listen, I'm gonna ask one more thing before I go. Is she into any particular drugs, any weird scenes, anything like that? Man, I might know the answers to these. But I just want to confirm.
Yeah, it's if you it's like, what was that trendy one that was going around like a few years ago? What they call it? Blue? Yeah, she was
Yeah.
calling into blue. Even when it went out of fashion.
Well,
still
I
wanted...
mean, it didn't really go out of fashion. Just depends on who you are. But I totally understand, Rat.
Totally went out of fashion, no.
Okay, well, thanks so much for the info. And tell your newest fling I said hi. And please, like we said last time, less hot pockets.
But they love them. How am I supposed to give up the chicken and broccoli? I don't think so. And he hangs up on you.
Good. That's how it always ends. He loves me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, okay. Well, thank you for entertaining that little aside.
No, that's fine. That's actually that's the best travel part I've heard. in a few words, please tell me what memory that sparks up when you hear that she's also known by Raven and her thing is blue.
Yeah, so blue was big about 5 years ago, specifically in the Paris rave scene. And Nora was doing a job in Paris at a time, around that time. She was running a con that may or may not have involved some extremely high value art pieces. And she was working an angle with a rich guy's daughter. It was not specifically Raven, but happened to be one of her raving buddies. And that's why she used to go by Raven then, except it was like Ravin, but it was also supposed to be a play on the bird. It was a time, we were doing weird things back in Paris. And so getting close to that daughter in order to get access to the rich guy's house, she kind of stumbled upon Raven and had an actual connection with her, because here was somebody who felt disconnected from the world the same way that Nora does, and had to deal with a lot of the same things that Nora did, pressures from parents and to be a certain way, and that kind of rebellion. And 5 years younger than she is now. Nora was a little bit more immature and more prone to flights of fancy. And so in that moment, she has this kind of like just memory that hits her of like having done a bunch of blue and invited Raven back to her apartment for a moment, forgetting that she has this job to do. And even though she was able to complete the job, it was still kind of this moment where she buckled down after that and was very much like, I can't take these flights of fancies on jobs anymore, because yes, I get beautiful women in my bed, but like, what else am I giving up? I could lose another job if I do something like this. And so that was an important point in the formation of her as a grifter, was that she can't partake in drugs and in the things that the people around her are doing, because what if it's going to cost her? And it's not even just what if, it's what is it going to cost her?
Right.
So that's what she remembers.
Okay. Well, now we go fast forwarding to getting to the island, and you see the employees in suits and bird masks, and again, real feathers, very expensive. Your luggage is whisked away, and here are these brutes in suits holding out these wooden lock boxes, and they're asking for everyone's wallets, rings, and wristwatches to be placed in the boxes. One of the more ornately dressed patrons are saying, "We'll get those back, right? I can't go with my engagement ring." What don't you want to surrender? This is a question for each of you.
All my fake IDs.
Just a wallet full.
They're not looking in the wallets. But yeah, you got to give your wallet, rings, and wristwatches up.
So I can can I do a movement? This what I want is to put it and take it back. So can I use it like just the security guy doesn't notice the little trick, and I can use a ritual like the one like open the lock, but it's like more than opening, it's like doing a trick with a lock.
Well, I'll let you. You don't necessarily have to use a ritual if you don't want to. It's like, you could even pull on a skill, but I will say it is risky. So either way, whether you use a ritual or want to do this very whiffy thing, I'll call it risky to your body, because you might get caught out by the brute that you're doing it. So Crook you. Let's find out what could go wrong first. for this?
I think the obvious one is that one of the brutes kind of notices and makes him give it up. But even worse than that would be the brute takes a moment to go, oh, so what are you trying to keep in there? And opens the wallet to find the fake IDs would be my suggestion.
Okay. Anything else? Any other way it could go wrong?
I mean, that is the most obvious one.
Yeah. I'm going to say also that, you know, you swipe it, you try to swipe it back, and it doesn't work. And in the midst of catching you, I think that brute knows you.
I've got one that in the moment of trying to like palm the fake IDs back out of the box, you accidentally take some ID that belongs to one of the other guests instead, and now they're mad at you. Or once they find out, they'll be mad at you.
I'll say what you're saying, Vega, is that I accomplished, but with another IDs.
That's my
like,
suggestion.
Yeah.
I actually did think of a thing that could go wrong. Bit of a fumble, and the wallet of IDs ends up in the water.
Ooh, wow. Okay. Now, this is where we build the dice roll. So, dark die automatically because it's like, you know, you're going to try to do this and it's risky. Light die because of crook, distraction, you know, smuggling. I mean, any of those things can apply to this skill for sure. Now, to get the second light die to increase your odds of success, you can take a devil's bargain, which again starts with no matter what. Who's got a devil's bargain to offer?
No matter what, the guard does recognize him. And that automatically goes through the rest of the brutes as kind of like a, maybe this guy's marked.
Yeah.
Maybe not to be necessarily followed, but shifty character and I know him. You know?
Yeah, right.
With what should I roll? Say with rest?
Not yet. We're not rolling yet. We have to establish some devil's bargains that you can pick from.
Yeah. Actually, the one I can think of is a little bit softer than that, so I don't know if I should offer it or not.
It's a no matter what, regardless of how the roll goes.
Because the no matter what I'm thinking of is that he's going to have to give up at least one of his IDs in order to be able to get in.
Oh, kind of like bribing the brute who, or like, you know, kind of like
either bribery or just like make it look like this is your only ID and I'm giving
yes.
But it's a valuable ID and he's going to have to give it up in order to in order to make it in.
Right.
Like he might retain the rest, but that one he has to give up.
Maybe my suggested devil's bargain is that there's some sort of like lock picking tool that you'd be using to like do this little switcheroo, and that the pick is lost no matter what.
Yeah.
So I can choose one.
You can choose among one of those, for the devil's bargain.
Or you can choose none of them, right?
Right. You can also not use it and only roll with one light, one dark.
I'll choose Damian.
That's the one with giving up the valuable ID.
Every ID has like the same value, but if you can, we can put it that it's like from a very high classics corporate businessman. That one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very valuable. Yeah.
No. Okay. Well, then you're locked into then being that person for this trip.
Yeah.
Because then it's like if you show a different ID, they'll know who you're supposed to be.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So Now you would roll under the dice roller, you would go under the risk roll and roll 2 light die, 1 dark. Okay, so 5 dark, which means if this is higher than your ruin, which it is, your ruin goes up by 1. Oh, okay. So Jonas, you are now at ruin 4.
Welcome.
All right. So you want to go ahead and change that top ruin number to 4.
You hear me chanting in the background, conditions, 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 conditions.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, I have to give Vega condition as well. All right, hold on. Let me see. Half a mo. All right. So tell me how you succeed in keeping the rest of them, but this is the one that you will have to be identified as for the rest of the trip. What is the businessman's name?
His name is Michael Stipesy.
Okay.
So he talks to the guard and he offers this. He shows him his ID and says, look, you are having the most important, maybe the most important of all the people that are here. I mean, I control 1% of the wealth of the world. So I'm giving you my ID. That's more important than maybe everyone in this place. So here's Michael Stipesy ID. Okay?
Okay, whatever you say, man. And yeah, so it goes into the box along with your wallet, but that's the only thing that goes in there because you've palmed the rest of them. And I'm gonna say your condition is
Very complicated, my conditions.
well, I mean, loss of the yeah. I'm gonna say that it's however you make of this, like we're gonna call it fixed image. Take the condition fixed image. Okay. And that would go under your conditions column. Okay. Sorry about that, Shane. It's like I realized it's like, you started off with 4 ruins, so alrighty. Okay.
Oh, that's right. I didn't realize I was supposed to have a condition at 4 ruin.
No. Yeah, I did because I was gonna call it like, to give you a condition, but then I remembered that you started off with 4, so you don't get a
Right.
condition. Yeah. Okay. Although, I mean, the burden of all those rituals, all those knacks. Okay. So now we have the others. So you don't give up those other IDs. So you just have them just in case, but for the most part, you are locked into being Michael Stipes. Okay. So
Yeah. So what? Sorry, the name of my condition was
fixed image. Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Yeah,
Yep.
I saw it right. Sorry.
No problem. Yeah. So for the rest of you, what are you putting in the box that you really don't want to surrender?
So Nora has a number of rings that she wears, but there's one in particular that she's not super psyched on giving up. Unlike the other ones, which are probably too expensive to be worn for daily use, including one that definitely used to be in a museum. She has one that's kind of out of place, and it's just a very simple gold band with an engraving on the inside that says 4M. And so she does give it up, but reluctantly.
Mm.
And she's also curious about how she's going to be getting this back, but doesn't say anything. She figures that it'll work itself out.
Okay.
Vega very reluctantly gives up the detonator that he's carrying. Obviously, he'll still be able to trigger an explosion, but without the detonator, that's a bit more. There's some risks associated with that.
Oh my gosh.
I love the implication that Vega holds on to the explosives. Like, here, I'll give you this, I guess.
Yeah. Oh my god. Goes into the box. Okay.
No. So we are specifically being asked for wallets, rings, and watches, right?
Correct.
Okay. So of those items, Damian does not want to give up his watch. It's an Omega watch. It's sort of mid-range. It's sort of luxury. It's a Swiss brand watch. It looks a little bit beaten up even. Doesn't have an engraving or anything on it, but he doesn't want to give it up, but he reluctantly puts it in because he knows he has to, because it's something of a good luck charm because of who it was that gave it to him. Yes, that's right.
All right. And after this happens, there is someone who comes up after the brutes, after they take everybody's wallet, ring, wristwatches, and close up the box. Someone follows with a silver serving platter, covered over, of course, in the big dome. And among the guests, these people with the silver servers will circulate. And when they take off the dome, they show some kind of avian mask. They are all different, but they are so opulent. Soft cloth backs, the kind of cloth that looks velvety and rich and soft, that will go against your face. And then there's feathers festooning the sides and on the front. Each of you must wear this mask while you are here. And I'd like to know, what color is your mask that you take? What shape is your beak? And how shadowed are your eyes when you put this mask on? Color, beak shape, and depth of shadow.
So my bird mask is going to be a kind of darker green mostly, with some red around the beak. I'm not sure really how to describe beak shape. I like a little kind of hook that goes down, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not very shadowed eyes. I have a Swifty parrot mask because that recently won the Australian Bird of the Year competition.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
So
I think Nora. Oh, Damian.
I'll just say that my that Damian's mask resembles a peregrine falcon. it's got these sort of bluish black sides with yellow around the eyes, sort of a darkish yellow around the eyes. There's sort of a little beak that comes to a little point in front of it. Maybe sort of paler toward the bottom of the mask.
So I think Nora sees one that is very basic, red, black, and gold. But it has these two like phoenix feathers that are coming off the side. And her eyes are very easy to see because she uses those to communicate a lot. Smize ladies. And so I think the beak itself is pretty short. The main attraction of the mask is those feathers coming off. So
Well, I think Jonas is sort of a condor, you know. His all this part is white and sort of with the feathers of condor, you know. And he has like this gray here, and he wears eyeliner. Jonas. He puts on an eyeliner.
Okay. Oh. And it's your gesture to go up into the terrace of the house, an imposing structure that looks like it's up a few natural-looking stone stairs, and you actually see, I think you all catch a glimpse of her whom you were shown a picture of, or you've known what she's looked like, especially you, Nora. Maybe you catch sight of very familiar colored hair, or from the photo, it looks like she doesn't quite have a mask on yet, like she's pushed it to the top of her head, and she is looking furtively around. As you ascend the stone steps, you see her making her way into what looks like a hedge maze off to the side of the house. Somewhere, a horn blows, and you can see, as you're ascending these stairs going into the house, you can see what look like antlered shadows entering the maze. You can't tell if they're human. Everyone, please make a ruin roll. Go to the dice roller, hit ruin, and roll. Okay.
Wait, one dice only?
Yep. Just hit ruin and roll. Marty, did you roll ruin? Oh, there it is. Okay, never mind. I got it. Oh boy. Okay.
Ooh.
Oh God. Okay, so Vega's ruin goes up if it's currently less than 3. It does not go up. Damian's ruin goes up if it's currently less than 4. So, yes. Nora's ruin goes up if it's currently less than 1. So, no. And Jonas's ruin goes up if it's currently less than 5. Yes. So now you are up to 5 ruin. Jonas. Oh boy. So you would change that. You would mark another checkbox so it turns into 5, and you go into the glorified position of having reached Ruin 5, and we're still in Ring 1, or we're coming out of Ring 1. So this dubious honor means that we can actually have you enact the reduction roll. If you look again on the infographic sheet or on the hover over the reduction roll on the left of the treasure hunters tab, when you mark 5 ruin, you can perform a reduction roll by acting in the forest's interests, destroying treasure, betraying or sabotaging your fellow treasure hunters, or interfering with rituals. So all the fun that comes from betraying your companions already. You should try to be subtle in your actions so as not to draw attention to yourself. Each time you act according to the forest's wishes, then you would roll the reduction roll in the roller, and then we would see if your companions notice what you're doing or if you get away with it. Okay? But regardless, when you decide to roll the reduction, then you will bring your ruin down by 1. Okay? So how this works is you don't have to do the reduction roll right now. However, there's still a chance of you gaining more ruin. Oh God. So maybe it would be prudent to do so. But what this means is when you do the reduction roll, you will need to figure out a way to serve the greater forest's interests and betray your companions in some way. So yes, you can do it now, or you can wait and see if you run the risk of gaining more ruin before you have the chance to do a reduction roll. What would you like to do, Jonas?
Let's see. I would do a reduction roll. It all seems like the only way out.
I can't believe that Jonas would betray a fellow like con person to get out of trouble. That's shameful.
Shocking.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do I play the betray?
Yeah, that's the question. So let's see let's see what the roll looks like. So go ahead, and if you want to do the reduction roll now, you can. Let's see like what your roll is, because that would determine whether your companions would spot you or not. And that may
Okay.
help you play it out. So go ahead and hit reduction and then hit roll. Rolled a 2. If this is less than your current ruin, your betrayal goes unnoticed and you decrease your ruin by 1. So go ahead and bring it down to 4. And tell me what you do that so subtly goes unnoticed, but you betray your companions. And it doesn't have to be all of them. It could be one of them. I mean, like, that is up to you. Tell me what you do in this moment.
Really glad someone set themselves up as the person who sold Jonas out.
Hmm.
So Jonas, I think we should leave all cell phones, right? All the cell phones are off, right?
You know what? I didn't say. What do you
You didn't
think?
say that. Okay. So he makes a phone call to an old debtor and says, you know what? You remember the heist that we did that you said I was the one? Well, I'm here right now, right on the corner when I was noticed. And I will tell you who that man is. That man is a man called Vega. You gave me the idea.
My God.
Cannot believe that you would do this.
What a rat.
Hmm.
What a
Oh.
rat, John.
Well, I mean, like Vega doesn't know. Vega is like, completely getting into, hearing some music, hearing like, the watching the party goers go upstairs and like have a great old time. But yeah, and I'm gonna say that given this, maybe the camera sees the rest of you go up the stairs and go into the house, and Jonas conveniently goes off to the side and makes his call as the shadows go into the maze, and down below, after everyone else has gone up into the house, there's a poof, and anyone looking from the balcony will see that the fairy has been struck a light.
I just turn to the others and say, that wasn't me.
And one of the other guests will go, "Oh, no worries. Tax write-off. It'll be fine."
Something funny like this happened to me in Cabo.
And then you have like, a few interested parties like, blandly listening to you as we close ring 1.
Great.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break in this instance, refresh any beverages, and take a bio break, but we'll be back in 5, okay? Okay. So I think as you go in upstairs into this resplendent home, there's actually dual staircase that creates like this curve that almost looks like a heart verging onto the next floor. And there's a major domo of sorts that announces that the choreographed dance is going to begin in a few minutes as people pair off. The invite that Frank told you about did not mention anything about having to know a dance. So perhaps you might have to fake it to make it. How do you pair off? It looks like there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, people have come alone. Some people have come together, but just paired off as music begins in a few minutes. It's a haunting tune, but danceable. Some people pair off together and do what looks like a waltz. Some people pair off together and just let their bodies move in whatever flow they decide upon between them.
I'm
Being
gonna
an
look.
sorry. You go first. I betray you.
We've betrayed each other. Thank you. Very, very gentlemanly. Um, I look for the wealthiest, oldest woman in the room and dance with her.
Gotcha. I mean,
Damn.
she's rather twittery, so she's kind of like, "Oh, oh, wonderful. Oh my." And yeah, she'll pair off with you for sure. So
Okay, well, there goes my plan. I'm gonna do a quick search around the room. I'm going to first make sure there is no one I have stolen from, conned, or seduced within view. And then I'm gonna choose
Really narrows it
probably,
down.
yeah, it really does. So I'm gonna choose somebody who looks kind of, if there is someone who looks not necessarily lost, but more of bored by this whole affair. Someone who more so than rich people look bored when they're doing things, specifically bored of the rich peopleness of it. Somebody who kind of gives off that vibe of like, yeah, I'm here, but like this kind of sucks, like that's the person I'm looking for. So that's who I'm probably gonna pair off with.
This is a gentleman who has like a mask that looks like an eagle.
Mhm.
Kind of like the white balding pate, and then the very noble like cresting nose beak, sorry. And their eyes are shadowed by the deep like feathered brows. And I mean, like underneath, like the mouth looks quite he's a distinguished older gentleman from what you can tell from the wrinkles or the cragginess of his lower face. The mouth looks very kissable, and he's tall, wearing what looks like a bespoke suit, but like kind of gilded to go with the nobility of the mask. And he
Great.
kind of like turns to look at you and like watches you approach with a smile.
Sounds hot. Let's dance.
And yeah, he joins you. Damian, Jonas, who do you pair off with? Or each other. I mean, you can do that too. There's
Yeah, I was thinking about. I was for a moment. I was just sort of thinking about just really. You want to dance? Um, yeah, we can. Depending on. Well, I actually no. I need. Damien thinks about doing that for a second. Just, but because of like. Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah. Depends. Depending on how like. Um, yeah, actually, he will. Does what does Jonas look like? What does Jonas look like in this situation? Damien's trying to decide whether or not to ask Jonas to dance. And
Well, I want to. I don't know if I can make a brief flashback to the life of Jonas,
okay.
since he was a member of a cult which combined, which he was hired to investigate, because to rescue someone's son from the cult. It was a sect that combined sex and sort of this following gods, right? You know, sort of like a Greek from the or a Romans from the Roman Empire sect, right? And he identifies one girl that was in the cult and goes with her. That's what I
okay.
want. I wanted to dance with Damian, but I saw that girl.
Does she
Her
recognize you?
name is Jennifer.
Does she recognize you?
I don't know. I'm going to talk to her.
Okay.
Nice. So I think that Damien was about to ask Jonas, and then he sees Jonas go, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And he's a little disappointed. He wanted to answer, but he'll then what he's going to default to is if there's anybody that was on the boat, because there were a bunch of people on the boat, right,
Oh
on the
yeah.
way over.
Oh yeah.
So if there was any person that something Damien is good at sometimes is what sympathetic listening.
hmm
Um, and so he'll just basically be a thing where it's like if there's anybody that he kind of tried sort of struck up a rapport to in that way where it's like just basically was willing to be their kind of sounding board type deal on the way over.
hmm
That he recognizes from the boat. I know they've got masks on now, but it's the clothes. The rest of the clothes are probably from what he can, he was getting everybody's movements and everyone in his head, on the way over.
In
So,
response to like, checking out like, people on the boat and such, I think at this point, I mean, like as people are dancing, there are powders on silver trays and preferred gold snuff tubes offered. Pills are in champagne glasses, and there is one of the guests, one of the fellow guests, walks by with less clothing than he came with. and probably is just let's just say he's wearing his mask, and that's
Excellent.
it. Yep.
So if this person looks like they'll be easily directable in some fashion, given what substances they've just imbibed, yeah, I'll just basically go up to him and just be like, want to dance?
His mask is of an owl, and again, it's like it just accentuates the overall roundness of his face, but he professes like like a genuine smile even through whatever he's on. And he like, absolutely, and then like he takes your arms and like swings around with you. And I'm gonna say that at this point there's it's night now, and the storm blows in. Some of these people that are dancing to the haunting tune have actually run outside, partnered with their dance partner, and they are in their masks. They're getting rained upon quite heavily, and they slink back inside, like holding on to each other and just dripping and laughing. Um, and I think if anybody's near the balcony, I think they will see the hedge maze and then notice in the lightning, like when the lightning flashes, you see your target illuminated by the lightning, and she looks like she's halfway up a trellis to the second floor that you see here. What do you do? Dancing with your partners.
She's in the hedge maze, you said?
She was. Now
Now she's moving.
Yeah, she's up on a trellis up to the second floor.
Okay.
And the thunder crashes and it goes dark again.
So Jonas goes to Jennifer and he like puts tops of his mask. He does like a little bit like this. Just hey, I don't know if you remember me, Henry Rollins, Henry Rolling Stone. Jennifer, we used to be in love. I don't know what happened to you. You remember me? We shared a lot of nights together. I don't know what you're doing here.
I'm gonna say this is risky to your mind. So let's do a risk roll here. Sorry to make this difficult. I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah, you can do a risk roll. Oh, and I should also mention too, you can do a reduction roll at any point to lower your ruin further. But again, to do a reduction roll means you betray somebody, you betray your companions in some way. And depending on how you roll means that they're either going to know or they're not gonna, like how subtle you are. But you don't have to. You cannot get below your ruin. Exactly. You cannot get below your starting ruin. So conceivably, you could do yet another reduction roll to decrease your ruin and then betray your companions again. So that's a choice. That's up to you.
I'll skip this one for the moment.
Okay, so all right. So anyway, risk roll. You don't know. You haven't seen her in a while, so what the heck? I'm gonna say risking your mind in this case. And you start, let's figure out what could go wrong if this fails. Period. So that first.
What could go wrong? I could be thrown off the party. Because she's an important asset of the party.
I'm gonna say probably like the most biting response you can get from somebody that you open up to like that is the in-person equivalent of new phone who dis. Sorry babes, I left the cult. Who are you?
Yeah. Or actually it's like it can go wrong in that it's a complete mistaken identity. She
Oh,
looks incredibly like Jennifer, but it's not Jennifer.
Mm.
way to give out some secrets there, bud.
What could go wrong is like the only thing potentially worse to hear in this situation than I don't know who you are, which is, hey, your friend Vega looks really cute. Can I get his phone number?
Oh, nice. Oh my
Always
God.
leveraging for Vega. Love it.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Okay. So anyway, let's build the die roll. Okay. So light die because of your expelled cult member status. So I mean, obviously you know her and have some familiarity. Dark die because you're risking mind if this messes up. Okay. Now, for the second light die to increase your odds, we're gonna offer up some devil's bargains. And you pick one. So no matter what, because you've revealed yourself, then she betrays you. You won't know about it until later, but she gives you away to someone at this party.
Okay, so I'm not obliged to no matter what, right?
Right. I mean, like we're going to be offering up some choices here. You can either pick one or none.
I'm going with Vegas.
Oh, that was a consequence. Not a devil's bargain.
Sorry, no,
The
I'm not
GM picks
taking
that
the
one.
Isvalan. Sorry, I'm not
Yeah.
taking the Isvalan.
Oh, so you're not gonna do a devil's bargain at all? Okay, so then you'd be rolling one light, one dark on the risk roll.
Considering my lack on this game, I think I would have. One dark, one light, right?
Correct. Okay. 5 dark. If this is higher than your ruin goes up by 1.
No.
Oh man.
The dice
Okay.
have not been nice.
No. All right. So for risk roll, 4 to 5 for the outcome. It's meaning that you succeed, but there's a complication. I describe the complication and you describe how you succeed, or vice versa.
I should have gone with Damian. I should have danced with Damian. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah. Tell me what do you want her to do exactly?
Well, I want her to recognize me, and I would like to know why she's here and if there's some kind of info I can get in general of the party, of the owner, and of the girl, I suppose.
Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, I think she and you tell her who you are. And she looks at you with some puzzlement. Huh. Jonas. Yeah, I remember. to be honest, I mean, it was really, really high back then. I mean, we had those rituals and the dances before, we would party more. And I honestly like don't remember being that close. Trying to remember, like, you said nights together?
We spent 15 days alone in a huddle.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
We were going to be married.
Oh, I
You
didn't even.
remember me. You remember Jonas?
I know the name and your face looks real familiar, but yeah, I don't remember any of that. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you wipe your mind, right? You weren't you in a cult?
I mean, I remember being in a group. It was a
Yeah,
self-help group. I mean,
that's what you thought it was. You don't remember saving your life? Me saving your life? Me, Jonas?
sorry.
Can I roll something again?
Well, let's see. I mean, you want to find out something about why she's here and, like, what she has a connection to for this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, she she says something like her parents got her out and were able to pay for her to go to rehab and to get cleaned up and such. And then she's just here at the invitation of Kensington Wolf the fifth, whom she knows, you know.
And where does she know him? You
Uh he's an old family friend. I mean, yeah, I mean, like, we've known each other since we were kids.
you know Kensington since you were kids.
Yeah.
I don't think you can introduce him to me, right? Your former lover, your former boyfriend.
I mean, I
Yes,
I
for the
just
old times, for
I,
the months, for the weeks that we live, swearing our eternal love.
I'm so sorry. I don't remember any of that. So that is your complication. Mm, forgotten love. That's your other that's another condition. And I believe you are up to 5 ruin again. God. Goodness. Um, yeah.
So I look at Damian and said, "Wow, I miss it, man. I really missed it."
Yeah, he's dancing with the naked
Yeah,
banker.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
and
I
will
could
you
have
take a
been that
dance with
naked
me,
man.
Allah? Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, my complication.
Yeah. The condition is forgotten love. Yeah.
And my ruin goes to 5, right?
Yeah, your ruin is
Again.
up to 5 now. So let me address somebody else, and then we'll come back to see if you want to do a reduction roll before we break for the evening. Okay. Yeah. So since he was like trying to look over and talk to you, Damian, what are you doing with this banker friend of yours now?
So, yeah, I've been taking Banker Friend on a merry little dance around the room as he's sort of has been getting facts, details, sort of quietly in his head, perimeter stuff, basically.
Mm.
And, sort of going past the window for a moment, seeing the flash of lightning is like, okay. Are there people going up and down the stairs at all?
Yeah, they're kind of like in their own like trance-like state, if you want to call it that, because they're high on whatever was on the platters. And
Great.
yeah, they're going in and out of the house, like into the rain and then back again, and then they're going up and down the stairs.
So what I'd like to take the opportunity to do, seeing it's like, okay, she's going up on the second floor, got to see if I can figure out where she is. I'm gonna do a if there is an appropriate moment to kind of spin my dance partner off to someone else to see if they want to dance with him. Then I'd like to just basically anyone that's like off to the side and is like also similarly having it and is like trying to, and when drugs get involved, I'm sure it can be easier to kind of get people to feel like, oh, you dance with each other, type deal. So kind of to just sort of quietly sort of do that and kind of sort of in his own sort of reverie start heading up the stairs as though he is also in this sort of this he's kind of doing his own thing to sort of see what he can see.
I think as you are going up the stairs and like, making like you're in the same kind of trance-like state, I think you see that maybe from your vantage point on the stairs, maybe you see one of the servants, or actually a couple of the servants, like come out of like a locked room, like down the hall, like on the second floor, and they look like they have locked the door behind them, actually. And one of them hangs the key around their neck, but not open to see. Like they furtively like hide it,
Right,
like inside their jacket. So you do spot that.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so I think seeing what it is that is happening, there are one or two directions I can go in with this. And seeing is how I want. Yeah, it's like he could either tell Jonas about the locked door, or he could tell Nora about the key. And I think he's going to move to tell Nora about the key because Jonas deliberately going off chooses, he wants to let Jonas do whatever his own thing is. He chose another dance partner, so that's fine. So he's going to kind of
no regrets. Damian has no regret.
No regrets. No, he can't afford to in this business. Just sort of seeing that door. Does the door look like it would be roughly in the same lead to a room roughly in the same area as where that trellis might lead?
It might, yeah.
It's like same side of the house, at least, that kind of deal. There's
Yes,
something
yes.
there.
Yeah.
So he's going to kind of, I mean, if we still have our phones, I could send something, but that would probably be a terrible idea.
Oh, come on now. Terrible ideas are what we're made of in this game.
Fair. That's fair, but not unfortunately not terrible in the way we're looking for, because that might make it too easy in some ways. But I think that no, I got it. He's gonna kind of quietly just sort of see if he can position himself in an unobtrusive place, just to see that servant, just at some point where he can just surreptitiously take a quick shot with the camera, so that it's of that person. Are they wearing a mask or no?
Oh yes, all of the
servants.
All the servants are wearing masks as well.
Okay.
You got the brutes in suits. You've got a servant.
Are the servants wearing identical masks, or is it possible to tell the servants apart?
No, I think they're all wearing like domino masks, so like they all look the same. And then it's the guests that have the resplendent, ornate, individual masks.
Okay, so this is going to be a little trickier. So the instead of taking a picture, because there's no point, he's going to be tailing this servant somewhat. And when we get into, and hopefully the servant, I'm hoping the servant goes through an open area where Damian can do something to kind of get into Nora's eye line and just kind of nod at the servant and just sort of indicate the the sort of kind of like scratch, to indicate necklace area.
Okie doke.
That's the thing he's attempting to maneuver, to kind of get that message across.
Okay. So if you don't mind me saying what Nora's doing. So I was thinking about it, and I think I have a bit of like an idea for how I would want the scene to play out, but if at any time you're like, that's a little wild, let me know. But Nora is dancing with the older gentleman, and they have like some moments of connection where they're like chit-chatting and talking about how lame this party is. And there's a moment where Damian makes eye contact and she gives a little curt nod back in understanding, like just a little Wilco. And she and her dance partner continue to dance, and she says something along the lines of like, do you want to take a break? We've been dancing for a while, and go out to the like courtyard or like a covered area so that she can smoke. And I am specifically picturing this moment where she like is lighting her cigarette and like leaning over the rail and like looking out at the dark stormy night, and he's like, so it's obvious you're not here for the party itself. That guy that looked at you walks like he worked for the KGB. And like just immediately clocks Damian as somebody who has some sort of training, and it's obvious to her that she's kind of been made in some sense, and her policy for this is if someone can notice it, then they are possibly an enemy or an asset, and for her the way to get to those is the truth. And so I think she would probably be like, yeah, I'm here for a retrieval. And like just kind of see how he reacts to that. Sorry if that was a big thing to spin up.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Would you say that you're trying to be affable?
Right now I'm not really attempting to. It does carry inherent risk, but I don't really want to decide by dice. I want you as the GM to decide what he does, if that's okay. Because I'm not attempting to achieve a goal right now. I put my character in a weird situation and I'm saying, hey, Mads, what happens? We may have to get to dice in just a second, but
right. Oh, how refreshing to meet somebody who just lays all the cards on the table.
Never been good at poker.
Neither have I. But he will pick out from his golden suit, he will pick out a single card. And I'm going to ask you, what card is it and what does it remind you of? I'm going to give you a moment to think about that because I want to go to Vega. I want to find out what Vega's doing with his partner, if anything.
Vega doesn't understand why anyone would be in a rush now. We're at this nice party, we might as well enjoy it. So he's just having a really lovely dance with the oldest, richest woman in the room.
Absolutely. And she's very pleased that you've given her all of your attention.
Absolutely.
But you had seen in the lightning flash that your target was like, heading up the trellis to the second floor.
Well, look, Vega's just really surprised to find out she's still alive. That's like a bonus as far as he's concerned, but it certainly doesn't make him in any more of a hurry to pick her up. She'll, she clambering around the trellises. We'll collect her on our way out. I mean, the ferry's gone anyway, so we're not in a rush.
Right. Absolutely. It's like, I haven't seen you here before. Big, strong thing like you. Are you searching for a patron, or are you looking for a little action?
Well, I like to think of myself as a romantic.
Oh, so few of those these days. She reaches up and pats your cheek. She's quite the cute little thing.
I stroke her feathers in return.
And she like just gives that shiver as she does.
And what are you looking for?
Oh, just maybe someone to romance. And she kind of like does that flirty, like, wink blink through her mask.
I
Hey, big
pull her a little
boy.
closer.
Ooh. And I'm gonna say at this point, she's looking at you with her. She looks relatively well kept, being the oldest, richest woman in the room. Yeah, I mean, like, and you can't quite tell what age she is. You know she's much older, but you can't quite tell what age she is. And she's like trim and slim and just looking very like, very spry. Let's put it that way. And so she smiles at you, but I'm gonna say that you get a flash of something. This smile looks very familiar to you, Vega. This is someone, well, it's not her. It's not the her that was involved in the embezzling scheme. But who does this woman remind you of?
Oh, I mean, obviously she reminds me of many other oldest, richest women in the room that I've seduced over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to name someone in particular?
If you're thinking of someone in particular, I'd be interested to hear. I mean,
Uh,
it's not that person, but I mean, like, I would like to know who this woman reminds you of.
mm, okay, I think that recently Vega did get involved. I'll leave it undefined whether in a romantic or criminal sense with like some sort of young Bitcoin scammer. And
Mhm.
that's who she reminds him of. Maybe he like considers for a moment that it might be her great grandmother or something like that. Uh, Maybe they just, have a certain quality,
Mhm.
but that's who he thinks of.
Nice. Yeah. And she will. There are platters going around. These servants in the domino masks are actually like passing around not only the drugs, but also like maybe some of the platters have surprise, actual food. And then she pulls as you're dancing around, very leisurely, she pulls off like maybe chocolate covered strawberry or like maybe like a chicken skewer or something like that. And she takes great pleasure in feeding you as you dance.
Does she feed me like a mother bird feeds its baby?
Oh no, 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 no. Although I mean, like, it's a great opportunity for ruin if you so choose to go that route. I
Yeah,
was
let's
thinking,
do it.
oh my God. Okay, great. So yeah, so not to get
I,
graphic or anything, but we get the idea that it's basically like it's like passing mouth to mouth, like this delicate strawberry or this like piece of chicken from the skewer and such, and yeah, and the music has somehow gotten more, what's the word? Not frenzied, but just deeper and throbbing and just giving off this sense of, with the drugs and the sense of the food and maybe like some of the drink that has already been imbibed on the boat and here, like you just get this heady sensation of of pulsing in your brain.
Mm.
Seeing the smile of that woman that you knew in the scandal or the scheme, and seeing this woman's face like kind of alternating back and forth.
Am I making a ruin roll? Is that what's
Yeah.
happening?
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure this will be fine. This is fine.
This is
I've been
absolutely fine.
fed by many older women.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, I mean, it looks like you're okay. It's not less than 3, so your ruin does not go up. But just tell me, for funsies, tell me, like, what thoughts are running through your head as, again, the scents and the sounds and the feelings are, you know, slightly running away with you. How do you keep it together in this case?
I mean, I don't know that Vega is really going to keep it together. Like before, Nora kind of said that the important thing is the job and that she's never again going to like let herself be distracted because of like what it costs. Vega
Mhm.
does not feel like that. Like to Vega, the job is the pleasure of doing the job. The job is not like bringing back the girl. The job is the adventure, you know? So
Nice.
he's just having, this is it for him.
Oh, wow. Okay. So sinking more into it, basically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
He wouldn't say
Wow.
sinking.
Right,
Maybe
right,
he would
right.
say rising to it more, but
Oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
the idea.
Your condition, I know, like, you're keeping it together, but I want to give you this condition anyway, so you can take it however you want. I'm gonna say rising to the occasion.
Rising to the occasion.
Yep,
Love it.
absolutely. All right, Nora. So, yeah,
Yeah,
tell
so
me.
I filled a whole sticky note.
Okay.
So
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
So when he hands me the card,
Uh-huh.
I take it, and on the front is just one word embossed. It just says consultant. On the back, it says Darian Sandoval. And
Oh,
when I take it, it reminds me immediately of a job that I took in Cape Town. That was another retrieval with what I call DoD adjacent folks, so contractors in the private sector.
sure.
And she kind of like, as a rule, does not work with contractors, specifically DoD contractors. But this was a favor that had gotten called in by another guy that used to just have the title of consultant. And this was someone that she considered a mentor. And after this job, she stopped working with him because of what happened in Cape Town. And so in this moment, she's kind of like having this, like, kind of having to fight the fact that she knows this is not the same guy, but like people who use that title use people. And she kind of understands that. For her, yeah, the job is paramount. For them, the job is even more paramount. It is above everything. And so she gets this sense of like, he can be an asset, but he could very easily be the reason that, like, if he has a bigger agenda, her agenda is out the window. So
Yeah.
that was my sticky note.
Okay. All right. Cool. Because I think at this moment, for all of you, you each get in your own way, whether it be in passing as you're considering things, or you are still dancing, or you are um, just thinking on what comes next as you're making the assessments. I think each of you get a note either passed on a covered tray by a sparrow-faced caterer, or you are getting the note slipped to you somehow. When you read the note, you each see that it says, "Meet me in the Velvet Room." How do each of you react?
Since I'm probably still with Darian, I'm gonna do my best, and I don't think it would be that hard, to just kind of take it in stride. Um, and then I think her next move is to hand him her version of his business card, that just says something like, I don't know, it's something kind of goofy, like God, consultant was such a good word. I hate that I already used that up. Maybe she does use that on her own business cards now. And so she like hands him back one that also says consultant in embossed letters, but has her name on the back. It just says Nora Summers. And so she hands that to him and says, I have another very attractive human to go talk to. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I'm sure we'll bump into each other again.
And he just kind of salutes in a very sensuous way and says, "Oh, may we meet again." And he reaches out with one very finely formed finger and kind of traces the edge of your chin to your mouth and just kind of like lays his fingertip on it for a second.
She's very flattered.
How do the rest of you react to the missive? Meet me in the Velvet Room.
Vega is gonna like use the note itself like a fan, as if to indicate he's getting too hot, and say to his dancing partner, "Look, I have to excuse myself, but I hope I'll have the opportunity to feed you a strawberry of my own a little later."
Ooh, I would love that. Don't go too far.
Well, the boat has saying, so I won't be going too far. Thank you very much.
And she kind of
And
like as you're leaving, she's kind of tracing her fingers down your arm and then kind of like doing that whole like just kind of clutching you slightly with her
yeah,
fingertips and then letting you go with a a blown
I
kiss.
return the gestures.
I
Yeah.
love her. I love her so much.
Yep. All right. Damian, Jonas, you get the message about meet me in the Velvet Room. What do you do?
I mean, Jonas.
Oh, yeah, okay, there you go. Oh, you're back and forth on mute and not mute.
I'll go for a second whilst the wrangling occurs. I think
Having
that
such a sorry,
go
such a
ahead.
bad night. He goes, okay, the velvet room, and he goes right there.
So, Damian, seeing that it looks like Nora is actually is getting further into conversation and is probably going to be too busy to help him lift this key. Damian has been just following this, has been continuing to tail this this servant, trying to just sort of memorizing their body language, and sort of looking for an opportunity to lift the key. The note comes in. Someone just sort of passes by, well, sort of in a tray, hands it to him. And he's like, "Oh," and he takes it, and he's still continuing to move in the same direction, still following that other servant, and sort of nods thanks, taking the note, sees the note. Is it on any special sort of paper? Is it like velvet colored paper or anything like that, or is it just
Yeah, I
like
mean,
a
like
sticky note type deal?
no. I mean, I think it's on like quite lush paper. It is textured as if
Okay.
it could be velvet, you know.
Excellent. Okay, so this is a specially made card, which means this is a known thing probably. So change of plan then is like, okay, well, I guess I've got to create my own opportunity to get this key.
Mhm.
So Damian's going to then shifting to plan B. The newly created plan B will maneuver to catch up with the servant he's been following,
Mhm.
to try to look like he's coming from another direction, which he can, kind of do, see where things are in the room, move around, people dancing, and he'll just go up to them, sort of holding this card, and he'll stop the servant and he'll say, "Oh, excuse me," Excuse me. Could you tell me? Could you help me find the Velvet Room?
Oh, absolutely, sir. You just have to go up those stairs, and you'll see like
Oh, just
a few stairs like that look like they're covered in velvet, leading up to a landing that has like a kind of like an ornate black door.
just here, and he'll kind of make a deal of trying to be a little dense, whilst also like he's picked up like a champagne glass,
Mhm.
and he's going to try to create an opportunity during this, because it's clear the servant isn't going. It'll kind of be like, "Sir, you show me kind of a little bit," but what he's going to do then is sort of create, using his ability to sort of anticipate what she's going to do, try to create a thing where he kind of there'll be some spilling of the champagne, or try to work out a thing where it's like, as it's maneuvering, he's trying to kind of see, just getting a thing where, yeah, it's going to be a thing I think best where it's like the champagne spills on him, because it's he's sort of anticipating the point where it's like, your reaction will be to try to help with that, and to try to make it so that basically when she is kind of maneuvering to do that, he can try to, if there's like a clasp or something, try to reach in quickly, undo to try to get the key. Or actually, not to lift the key, undo the clasp, let the thing fall, hopefully catch it with his foot. It's a very complicated maneuver he's trying to do here.
Risking body, because it's like, you're,
Yeah.
well, I mean, yeah, risking all for
He's
trying to get
got to
this.
do it by himself since everyone's busy, so this is all he can do.
Yeah, I will allow it. Sure. Okay, so what I'm just gonna ask one person because it's like, we're a little pressed for time.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No problem. Okay, so Vega, please tell me how this can go wrong.
Oh, the key opens something absolutely terrible.
That may be built in.
Yeah, that may be built in.
Well, that's the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
Jim, I love this plan. I also would remind you do have Haya, and you could just render them unconscious and say, "Oh no, this person has
fallen
fainted
and can't get up." Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think the backup, but yeah, I think
Okay,
that
cool.
that's like I didn't want to have to do it, but
No,
yeah,
I totally
down
understand.
to it, yeah.
If
it comes down to it, that's where this might be going.
For the first light die, then like you have to parlay me where your occupation, background, and skills can fall.
Anticipation.
Okay. All right.
Is absolutely.
I'll take it. Okay. So the first light die, you already have a dark die for the risk, and then for the devil's bargain, again for press for time. Nora, do you have a devil's bargain that you can offer?
No matter what, your clothes are ruined thanks to champagne. You must find another pair of clothing, or take on the visage of your dance partner.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that'll make me a little harder to make it a little harder for me to slip around. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right. 2 light, 1 dark, please.
All right. We got a risk. 2 light, 1 dark. Roll. I rolled a 6.
Okay. 6 light. So you totally succeed. And you've pretty much said, like, how you do this, catching on your foot. So yeah, they don't seem to notice, like, the flurry of you like spilling champagne, and like because you're drunk or you're high or whatever. And the servant is very, very conscientious and tries to help you, and you manage to do this, and you get a key. All right. And so you are shown the Velvet Room. I will say that whether by asking someone or wandering or stumbling into it, somehow the Velvet Room has more than one entrance. And when the camera pans into the Velvet Room, you all come from different directions. Maybe Vega and Jonas somehow end up at the same door, but coming one after the other. And then Nora, you come from another direction, and then Damian, you go through the black door, and then you find yourself at another direction. But all three doors lead into this very velvet decorated room, draperies, furniture's covered in it, the floor is covered in something very cushy and plush. And then on the opposite end is a screen. Not a large screen, but it's draped as if it's theatrical in velvet. And as you all stumble in, it flicks on. In this lush velvet room, there's your target. There's Sarakath, aka Raven, on the screen. And she says, I know my father sent you. You shouldn't have come here. And from behind two of you, two men enter with guns. And that is where we're going to close ring 2 for this evening. So, we will do the remaining rings for part 2 of this incursion. And we're going to end this session with a round of stars and wishes. So stars are anything that you liked about the game, gameplay, role play, each other, and wishes are what you'd like to see for next time.
Yeah, huge star to Shane for giving me that great devil's bargain in the beginning. Amazing. I want to give a star to Jim for pushing to create connections between our characters, and one to Marty for sure for number 1 sticking it out with all the ruin rolls. And number 2 for also like jumping straight into backstabbing us as soon as you got the opportunity. I love that kind of play in a trophy game. As far as wishes, I hope we get to have a lot more inner character drama as things continue. That's about it. So yeah, big thank you.
My star is I was very impressed with Merilee's approach to Trophy Dark when we like had not yet actually started playing. You're like, wait, can I go back to before the game started and make an extra risk roll? Like, I don't just want to accumulate ruin during play. I'd like to see if I can start with some extra ruin. I thought that was amazing. And my wish is that I want to figure out like more risks for Vega to take next time. I assume that will happen naturally, but yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to.
This was great. I loved this so much, the scenario. I think I liked, stars basically are going around to everyone. I mean, for Marty, for Jonas's IDs and the business with all of that, and the and just getting into it with the dance partner issue that was fun. For just to Shane for just trying to get ahead with his dance partner and doing that so well, that was so good. And then just for Merilee, just conjuring up just out of whole cloth the backstories for Raven, and for the guy that ran, Darian, the guy that you ran into, it was that was wonderful. Just seeing that, just getting spontaneously generated, that was beautiful. And then just Mads for leaping instantly into every NPC. It was wonderful. I loved it. This is a great scenario.
Well, first, stars for everyone, because this is my first Trophy Dark game, and I really want to thank you all because you made me feel very comfortable, really. And I have played a lot of CFB, and this has nothing to do without it. And what started as this Leonardo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can, turned as this poor old guy who can't do nothing. I mean, it was and one thing that I was afraid, because I like to put a lot of humor in my characters, and I wasn't certain if it would function in this game, but I think it did. So I hope I was able to be worthy of the play. Really, I'm not saying, I'm not being a demagogic. I'm not being a populist, but I want to say that stars to everyone for for me. So being playing a CFB game that doesn't apply with all the old rules, and really interesting. So thank Matt for the invitation, and thanks everyone for really being so great in their place, and again, I wish you had a good opportunity playing with me. I don't know if it was okay, my performance. Yeah, thank you guys, really, from the heart.
I'm definitely going to take my revenge on Jonas, but playing with Marty was fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I
Trophy
expected that. That was like
Trophy Dark is
amazing.
actually really funny. It's not about
Yeah.
horror. I see it as the funniest
I really
game
love
you can play.
being. I mean, one more thing, but I really like having bad luck in this game, because it makes it made my player more interesting, I think.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, like we love to see the fails, or
And I
we
hope my
love
English
to
was
see
good. I don't know.
the devil's bargains were awesome. I mean, like like
Mm.
just jumping on the first devil's bargain that happened because it was so beautiful. But yeah, I mean, like most of my stars were pretty much said already. I love the fact that you all jumped into this scenario with a sense of not only the possible sinister undertones, but I mean, like you ran more with the heisty part of it. And since it is such a unique incursion, I loved what you've done with the place, basically. It's what I'd like to say. I mean, like, you are carrying these crew characters to, like, okay, this is kind of what they would do because they got a target. This is like what they want to they want to roll with. And yeah, I mean, these characters are just so much fun. I can't wait to see what else they do for the remaining rings. And yeah, I mean, thank you for just jumping in, like, responding to the prompts, responding to each other. I mean, the connections built between y'all. I mean, like, this is more than a usual trophy game. Okay. So, I mean, like, again, this is a unique incursion. The way you've handled your characters, unique connections are very, you know, very engaging. And again, I'm like, backstab or help each other regardless. I mean, it's great. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. Um, yeah, I like Vega is just so incredibly. I'm looking at the picture and I'm just getting like this 70s playa kind of vibe, but I
Yeah,
mean,
like this
he's more
smooth
than that.
kind of guy, and
Yeah.
what.
Well, he
And then
thinks
For
he's a
me,
smooth kind of
I
guy.
started from
you
Leonardo DiCaprio to get smart. That's what. And you were the coolest guy, and he was like a dealer killer, and well, man, and she played great, and well, anyway, I think I made my point. Thanks for the play, really really interesting,
yeah.
and
It's gonna
again, I
be
hope I spoke well.
no. I mean, like, we got what you wanted to do. I mean, sorry well, I mean, the dice kind of complicated things, and that's kind of like what it's involved with for sure. So, no worries. I mean, like, you as long as you are having a good time, that goes across the board for everybody. As long as you're having a good time, then we've got the point. That's what's important. Um, yeah, again, I mean, like, if it turns out to be a horror comedy, I mean, like, it wouldn't surprise me because again, these characters are just so unique to this kind of incursion play, and this is again a different kind of incursion altogether. So I'm willing to run with it as long as you guys are. So, all right. Well, we play next week, same time, same weird station, and yeah, think on your characters. getting out of this mess. I don't know. We'll see. And I'll see you guys next week. All right. Happy gaming for anything that you're doing in the interim. All right. So enjoy your week. Bye.
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 Bye.